Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. So is this ex coming back? Will we get our Hoover? What to do once that happens? I know a lot of you are ruminating and wishing your ex back. So we're going to talk about when that's going to happen, if it's going to happen, and how to handle it. So there are ways that people change over time. So let's say your narc ends up going to counseling, they change their behaviors, and they come back. So you want to give them a second chance, third chance, 100th chance. You know the story. So they might change. They might change. But are they going to change the way they feel inside? Some people who are angry inside can act the right way, but they still have that anger inside. Some people who are lonely can go to a party and just act like the life of the party, but they're still lonely. So you get this Hoover, they're acting better, things seem just like during the love bombing stage. But depending on how bad the breakup was, is kind of dependent on whether you'll get that Hoover or not. If it's left unopened, if you backed off a little bit, some time's gone by, they always say to work on yourself. It's kind of like they keep saying, we're just objects. So there's all these brand new cars out there. And as an analogy, we're a car, an item. So there's all these brand new things out there. And we're kind of a not terribly beat up, but a beat up car. So we shine it up. So maybe it has a little bit more value. If we don't shine ourselves up, we're going to be that same beaten down car. So shine yourself up, live your life, enjoy it, expand your circle of friends, do more activities, become more interesting, have more knowledge of the world around you, and then they come back. So you guys start working on things. The hardest part though is with the future faking, the false promises. They're just going with the flow. They're doing what they should do. They're apologizing, but do they really mean that apology? It might seem heartfelt. They know how to say words. It's just a script, just like acting. I can act like a mean person. I can act like the Princess Diana. I can read a script. And that's kind of what they're used to doing, is making up their own script in life that gets them through, that gets them what they want. So if they come back, they just can't afford the new car on the car lot. So they're like, all right, what are my options? And so they come back to us, which is kind of hurtful. Sometimes maybe they do miss us in a sense, but do they really miss us? Or do they miss the comfort? Do they miss the activities, not being alone? And they cannot be alone. I guarantee you, every narc will move on to new supply very quickly. They don't look at the past. They don't bawl their eyes out. They just move on instead of working through their emotions or taking responsibility for what they did. It's easier to move on than to work through things or apologize. They don't even see it as we're 50-50 at fault. They'll see that we messed up. We're the crazy people. Not that they didn't make us crazy, because you know what it's like, not knowing what your reality is and trying to understand what their words were. The jumbled words, the poor communication, the ghosting, the silent treatment. So we're forgiving. And moving forward, just remember that they can change their actions. They will not change their feelings. So they will continue to gaslight. They will continue to manipulate. They might have developed some new talents on how to do that. So it might be even harder to detect. But as far as like the future faking, or is this really going to happen this time? Are we going to get married or move in together? Whatever your end goal is. But this is where it gets tricky, is if you read all this relationship advice, especially for the male-female relationship. So maybe it's male personality versus female. If you're in a same-sex relationship, usually there's one dominant one, or that's my interpretation. Sorry, I'm heterosexual, but usually there's one who has that like dominant male role. And then there's the submissive, um, which I like being submissive. I don't mind it, but I want to at least have some say, and even if I am submissive, I at least want to be cared about. Like, yeah, I'll do the laundry, I'll do this, I'll take care of you, but at least it's appreciated. I don't want to be somebody's slave. And I could do more than a slave would if I'm appreciated, but I don't want to just be taken advantage of, if that makes any sense to you. So we want this relationship, a partnership, companionship, somebody to snuggle with. We want the attention. We want to give what we want to give, and we want it reciprocated and accepted. So moving on, in order for it to work, the only way is if we back off. If there was something saying, in order for somebody to love you, they have to fear losing you. And this is where it's so hard, because we've committed our lives to these people. We believe in, we belong together, whether it's a friendship or a relationship. We believe we belong together. So they're not going to see that they might lose out on us. So they're already taking it for granted. Kind of like family members. A lot of times family members will lash out on us, be harder on us, because they know they won't lose us, that we're there. We are harder on the people closest to us. And that's just because we have that comfort. We can be ourselves. So they're trying to be themselves. They're selfish, they're arrogant, they're needy as far as attention. But when we start needing something too, that takes away from what they get, because now they have to give. So that's where they're talking about how they need this supply. They have what they have. They don't want to give anything up. And moving forward, thinking about that, starting a whole new life again. Like, this time we're going to make it work. And of course they're going to say we're going to make it work. Are you going to tell somebody, we're not going to make it work, but let's go out Friday? You're not going to get your way. And we wholeheartedly believe that we want this. So we're putting aside things. We make it too easy for them. And that's why a lot of the times it falls apart, because we're always available. We'll go to the ends of the earth. We'll change our schedules. And they just devalue that. And it's really sad how that works, the dynamics, because you should say, yeah, babe, of course I'll take that time off of work. Or I'll rearrange my schedule because I want to be with you. Like, that should touch somebody's heart. Like, wow, they did that for me. Instead, they see it as that was just too easy. They love the thrill of the chase. So when they Hoover us and we're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, let's get back together. If they gave us an apology, it's like, yeah, dude, sorry, why don't we, hook up again? And then the hard balance is, the physical stuff. Do we give in because we've already been with them? I know I got back together. I was engaged to get married. We had a daughter together, and 3 weeks before the wedding, he bailed on me. So he ended up with somebody 10 years younger. You know how that 13 years younger. She was running for Miss Michigan. So she was a little trophy. So we dated like a year after they kind of broke up. So we ended up being intimate. He's like, see, I already slept with you. It's like, we have a baby together. We were engaged to be married. We're back together now. And the way he said it was like, I'm going to get honest with you guys. He brought condoms. So if you didn't expect to sleep with me, why did you bring those? And you were just as willing as I was. So now I'm a piece of crap because I did exactly what you did. I didn't look at him like that. And for him to look like, you're the one that got a hot tub broom. You're the one that brought the condoms. You're the one, that set it up. And now I'm a piece of crap. It was like instant devaluation. And so his relationship, so we tried for a little bit, broke up because I got a speeding ticket. It was Valentine's Day. I was living across state, drove all the way across state to see him, rearranged my schedule with one of the other coworkers so I could be with him on Valentine's Day. I drove 4 hours to see him, got a speeding ticket. So he worked midnight. So I just kind of crawl into bed and snuggle up to him. And he's like, so how was your trip over here? And I'm like, well, to be honest, I got a speeding ticket. And he got up and he looked like I murdered his whole family. He was just staring off into space like I did the worst thing. I was honest, I got a speeding ticket. I paid my own insurance. The car was already paid off, so it was PLPD. It wasn't that expensive. But he's looking like I just murdered his whole family. I can't believe this. Now our insurance is going to go up. And I'm like, well, I pay for it. And wasn't even all that much. But, you know, this is your life partner and things happen. It was a speeding ticket. I didn't cheat on him. It was Valentine's Day. That was our last date. That was it. That was it. I was supposed to move back. We were going to have our family again. I get a speeding ticket and it's over. So he ended up going out with Miss Michigan to be possibly, which she didn't win. But they were engaged for 4 years. He bailed on her too. He never got married. I'll be honest with you, I've never been married, but I've been wanting to be married. It's just I've invested in 2 people for too long. And they're both narcissists. They both, you know, you'll go through this cycle, you break up, you get back together, you break up, you get back together. And it's just a pattern that we're used to. And our hearts invest so much in it. And with the future faking, like it gets to the point where because of circumstances in my situation, we couldn't always be together. And so the way that we communicate should have been better, not worse. And so that's where the devaluation comes by, where, you know, you get blown off because it's like too much of an effort to rearrange your schedule or drive so far, which is fine. But when they can't even acknowledge or understand it's a holiday or it's something important to us, to where they're just like, whatever, and to not even cancel with us. So how do they age? How do they progress through life? Do they get better? They have more tricks up their sleeves. It might be more subtle, but more conniving, underhanded. It doesn't stop though. And they will continue to gaslight us. So we might have a little bit more comfort where, okay, we're not getting the silent treatment. They at least talk to me. But are we connecting? Are we connecting? And to make a Hoover work is really difficult. And I'm kind of still talking to my ex. I'm going to be honest on this channel because I want you guys to, you know, learn from me. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be a hypocrite because I know where you guys are. He's getting married. We're still talking, but he's getting married. But that right there, doesn't that tell you something right there? I appreciate his friendship. It's still kind of struggled, but the only way that that has worked is for him to fear he's losing me. And for me to just way back off. Now he's going to get married. So our future together probably will not happen. And if it does, it won't be for 10, 12 years from now, because he does have something good. It's just something different. It's something easier. It's just a fresh start. And the hardest part is it's almost like there was no regret. Like he begged me to hold on and hold on and hold on. And he promised me everything. But looking back, he even said, because I'm like, I can't take it anymore. And is this really going to happen? And he's like, of course I'm going to do right by you. Why wouldn't I? And if you know how people lie, for him to say, why wouldn't I? And looking on my observations, and I don't know for sure, but that's about probably the month or within 1 to 3 months of when he met her. So right there, if you know how people talk, if you know how people lie, study that. That right there was a red flag. And as I spoke to him, something hit home. Like, why did he, like, that's weird. Why wouldn't I? Because a lot of times they want the validation of, I just lied to you. Do you believe me? I just lied to you. Do you believe me? And they'll do little things like that. So you got to really analyze everything. But I trusted him. I trusted him. And then instantly I was ghosted. I tried communicating with them. And then the whole balance went way off where I started freaking out. I'm states away from him. He promised, just promised, of course, I'll do right by you. And then all of a sudden I'm ghosted. I'm like, is this guy alive or dead? And I struggled not to disrespect him, did not reach out to his family. My intense pain came from me trying to respect somebody who didn't respect me. I could instantly relieve my pain if I just said, hey, is he okay? Is he okay? And I want you to think about that. I could have relieved my pain, but I intensified it because I respected him for no reason to blow me off. Who's the one who deserved the respect in this situation? So in order for this Hoover to work, you cannot care because they see that as a weakness. You have to be available, but don't be too available. Watch your words. Don't. It's such a mess with your mind. And the harder part is they move on to something easier. So now there was something easier and it's working. And that's where it gets so frustrating because comment below if it was an easy relationship. Both of mine were struggles because of outside situations, but I invested more because I saw the value in it. And I hope you watch my video on the gamble of a narcissistic relationship, because that is the perfect analogy of what's going to happen. Where we invest, they invest a little bit and we give more. Watch the video. It'll bring it home. So to make this all happen, back off. If they decide you're the easiest or the one that pays off the most physical excitement or the most money or the most whatever you bring to the table, you're going to be the first one out of that garage that they're going to pick. And I guarantee you, if you're not available at that time, they'll go on to the next. So it's not like they're longing for you. That's something to take to heart. So let's say it works out. You got that Hoover and you're really hoping this works out. There's such a balance. You better have brought your shine up because they're just going to see you as what you were before, just something like passing time, somebody to pass time with. Or it's like, okay, this is intriguing. Maybe this is a better trophy this time. So they might invest a little bit more, but they can change their actions for a while. A lot of times they'll revert back to who they are. But even if they continue doing things right for a while, their feelings aren't different. Their feelings aren't different. They might look at you. They might talk behind your back so you don't know it. You think everything's perfect. They might know that on Valentine's Day, this time, they better bring you flowers because that's what society says to do. But are they like, oh, I can't wait to give her flowers? No. You know, they just either want you to brag like, oh my goodness, look at what my boyfriend got me. He got me this and that. And I'm so lucky. And posting pictures on Facebook that you have the best, because that's an ego stroke for them. They're honestly empty souls. And I think we see a little bit of that. We know who they are. We see this flamboyant person, this persona that they put out. And they're wonderful people a lot of times at a superficial level. because the people that they get close to are the ones they're the hardest on. They know what they're doing. They know how to act in public situations, but behind closed doors, are they consistent? Do they just get by? Are we allowed to open up when we need to open up? Or is that seen as annoying? And they'll say anything to turn it around to where, how dare we ask that? Or didn't we already talk about this? Or why are you nagging me? A lot of times if they would just address it, it wouldn't even seem like we're nagging. We asked once, we got our answer, end of story. But when they put us through all this stuff, we ask 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And a lot of times we wait and try not to bring it up. So they're like, that's from 2 months ago. We're like, I know, I've been waiting this long for things to settle, for it to be the right time to talk to you. We finally have an opportunity. And then they say we're destroying everything. So as they get older, they have more skills. They are not as often, and at whatever time in life, sometimes you get a little bit better look and then you go back down. But they're not going to be as, whether it's physically fit or young looking, or their hair is going to change. Little things about them is going to give them some insecurities, and people aren't going to reach out to them as much as, you know, your 24-year-old hottie on the beach. They're going to start getting overlooked a little bit more. They're not going to get the, ooh, look at that person when they go out to the bar. It's just like, oh, excuse me, sir, or madam. Do you like those words? So the devaluation, they're going to start feeling it, that, you know, maybe they're going to put themselves into their career a lot more because they need that validation. A lot of them can be very successful. I give them credit. A lot of them are smart. So we want a relationship with them. They want that supply. So we just lost our husband or our wife to them being obsessed with their work, especially when you're financially stable and they go above and beyond at work. But at home, they're a lot of times too tired, and then they're tired, so they're irritable. And it's just a no-win situation. Because I'd rather live in just a decent place than live in some mansion with the richest man in the world. Like, we all have our needs, but I put love above material things. They put supply over love. They put supply over love. And if something sparks their interest, that would be like an adrenaline rush, that's what they will go for. And they will do it at all costs, as long as they don't get caught. So sometimes they will have where they're kind of like, maybe I should get caught. That's kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to push my luck, to where it's like either the thrill of the chase or the thrill of, can I get away with this? Can I get away with it? So they'll risk getting caught. Or you have the narcs that are like, I don't want to lose my home. If I get divorced, we got to split it up. I don't want to look bad in my family's eyes. So I don't know how much I can risk doing whatever it is I want to do. But it's just like a robber. They will go where it's easy. Why not? Why not steal something? It's right there. But are they going to do it in front of security cameras with armed guards? And they'll go for where it's safe. If it's not safe, they'll wait until it's safe. They're not dumb. They're not going to be that dumb criminal who says, this is my driver's license. I'm from this area. Can I please rob the bank because I'm a member here? They're not dumb, but they are risk takers, and it's about them. So I'm at that point where I invested so much in my life for something that never happened. We basically fought for it, saw each other every now and then. But I invested years, and I said, I can't take it anymore. And I invested more years. So we never had our time together. And I guess we're just at the point where we're just going to talk a little bit. but it's still struggled. It's still retarded on how we text each other. He is trying right now to be a friend, but it's still an interesting road. And at the end of the day, I'm still empty. I'm still empty. Because right now it's not like, hey, baby, you know, I love you. I hope you have a good night. Wish we were together, but I love you. Maybe like, yeah, you know, yeah, I probably won't even get a text back, you know? And I don't know. Let me know when your Hoovers come, how you handled it, and how long it lasted for you. You know, a lot of times it doesn't last very long. So I got a call coming, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.